morning, Cempakans. Again, we meet online. Thank you very much for welcoming me into your homes. Yes, about a few days ago, on the 30th of March, was World Doctors' Day. So I'm going to show you a video in tribute to all these wonderful doctors. And at the end of the video, I'm going to show you a short clip done by Dr. Dawn Ivana, who's actually Puan Aini's daughter. She's serving in Sabah. But she's not the only doctor in the Cempaka family. We have many, many doctors. We have Dr. Vikram and his sisters, also doctors. They are in Australia. We have Dr. Rohani in UK, and we have many doctors here, and of course, Dr. Ivana. So just listen to this video that was taken for doctors and to show what they have done and what they are doing and what they're going to go through. So sit back and watch and reflect.
Of course, we are all afraid of being infected as well, but we have to carry on doing our job because this is our duty to the nation.
I was serving in Hospital Ipoh in the surgical department previously, but just called to Hospital Sungai Buloh. I am currently serving in their COVID ward.
So how are things like at the hospital right now?
Work is still alright, it's manageable with the numbers that we have now, but patient loads are increasing. So I will work morning shift, 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. That's the official working hours, of course, with the Passover and all that. Usually it will go on to 14 to 15 hours. And the next day I'll do my night shift. After finishing my night shift at 9 a.m., I got that day off. And then the next morning I'll continue with my morning shift again. So it has been challenging so far. I don't feel so tired yet, but I can imagine those who have been doing it for the past 2 months. They have been working every day, almost every day without rest.
So there was one of these days when it was really warm and I was in charge of examining the patient and also taking some samples. I felt quite dizzy. So what I did was I actually took my temperature, and the thermometer actually showed 40 degrees Celsius, and that was really dangerous. I completed my task at hand and I requested for my friend to swap in with me. By the time we removed the suit, most of us were drenched from top to bottom. Some of us were even able to squeeze water out of our scrubs.
Those who did not originate from Klang Valley, they have to look for accommodation in such a short notice. They have to leave their families. Some were still breastfeeding women. So yeah, it was a very tough process. But then I think everyone realized the situation and the need to come and relieve the burden of the healthcare workers here.
I would be lying if I said there was no fear at all, because as you know, there are a lot of healthcare workers who have already been infected by the virus.
All of us would be worried to go home from work and to bring back any virus to families and all.
We have already been taking steps to make sure that our families are protected, including sleeping in different rooms. Some of my colleagues are sleeping in a different house altogether.
A lot of them miss their children very much, and yet they cannot see them. They can only WhatsApp and also FaceTime their loved ones.
Morale is quite kind of low, but what we do is we work together as a team to overcome this sort of difficulties. Some of us received an email saying that this would be the last contract for ourselves. That led us to a lot of worry and concerns, because what happens after the 2 years?
There's no clear guideline on how long we would serve and what would be our fate after this. Would we get a continuation of contract, will we have to continue to serve in the same place, or we would be shifted and relocate again, So there are a lot of uncertainties among junior doctors. That's why I'm hoping that KKM can see our effort, that we are doing our best to serve at this moment, and would not forget about us after this ends. Because a lot of us have a dream, to continue serving in our respective fields, but then without a permanent position in KKM, we are unable to do so. It's a privilege to serve. I think it's the original goal of studying medicine.
We are all afraid of being infected as well, but we have to carry on doing our job because this is our duty to the nation.
I think if everyone do their own social responsibility, be at home, practice good hygiene, and we are doing our best in screening, treating, and also isolating, I think it will flatten the curve. So do not need to panic. I think we are still alright.
Hello everyone, my name is Ivana. Here in Queen Elizabeth Hospital, we have cancelled all of our elective surgeries and also all of our clinic visits. But just because we're in a pandemic, it doesn't mean that our services have to stop. People are still getting sick, they still need their cancer surgeries, they are still getting involved in motor vehicle accidents that require surgery. So we will continue to stay on and render care to the people who need us. Resources are depleted and essential, and our manpower is severely lacking, as a large number of our colleagues are being deployed to COVID ward and also mass screening areas. We are really the last line of defense, and the frontliners is everyone at home, because the health of every single individual is largely tied to the health of the community at large. So please observe the MCO, stay at home, and we will get through this.
Cempakans. It's more than 2 weeks now, and we've got to go for another 2 weeks, and maybe another few weeks, but who knows? We just got to wait and see what's going to happen. But I think it's very good for us to pen down our own experience during this period. So I have put together a template actually that you can fill in at home when you're free, to talk about your experience during this period. So there's a column for your fears, and another column for learning, and another column for growth. So what are your fears? Like for me, for instance, I live in the house with my husband. Both of us are in a high-risk group. I'm over 70 and my husband is over 80. So we are very fearful of getting this virus, because it's going to be very, very difficult for us. But what's also more frightening for me is I don't want my grandchildren to have it, or my children to have it. Well, they don't come to visit us. We often have Zoom meetings or FaceTime. So that's a consolation. And there are many, many fears. Maybe you fear that you might not meet your friends again, or it's going to be a long time before you can meet them. But you can always get in touch online. Then we talk about the learning portion of this template. What have you learned? Well, I'm learning many, many things, because I've started to read a lot of books that I didn't have time to read before, and also going through a lot of reading up on what other countries are doing about this pandemic, and reflect on it. So that's something that you learn. And maybe you would like to put something on maybe certain recipes that you've tried, or you've sort of made up your own recipe. So you might want to put that down and maybe share it with us. Then in the growth section, okay, what would I feel that is my growth section? I think one thing I've learned, that I need to be more patient. I need to learn to become, more worldly in the sense that, to look with empathy and have more humility in my thoughts, and maybe learn a little bit more on how I can be physically fit and spiritually hopeful. And that's the growth part that I would like to enhance. So maybe you can write that too. And maybe and this time you would like to go into new things, new skills, uh, put that down and we can share during next assembly. Well, Cempakans, I've introduced a few pieces of art the last two assemblies. The first one was Alan Garcia, this painting here in the red chair. And the second one was the Chinese brush painting. I demonstrated how you can paint on rice paper and do a Chinese brush painting, and later on you can use it as wrapping paper. Today, I would like to introduce something different. Today, we're going to look at art for wear. Now, if you look at this is actually a painting of mine of autumn, and I did two others, which is this is summer, and this is winter. And I've got spring, but I've given it to a friend. So you have the autumn, the summer, and the winter. So I've turned this. I actually painted this on canvas, and then I printed it on silk, and then turned them into kaftans. Now, if you don't want to paint, or you cannot paint, and you don't have paints or canvas in the house, but you have your phone or you have your camera, so why not take photographs? Here, I've taken a photograph of zebras, at a lake in Tanzania, and I've turned it into a kaftan. I've also done another one here, and this is sunset in Tanzania, and I've turned it into a shorter kaftan that you can wear by the beach, or if you accessorize it, it could be smart casual. Now this is special because I've also done one on a t-shirt. So this t-shirt, the same photograph, then I also had my own signature at the back of the t-shirt. So then I can say this is my own fashion line. Now if you look, there are many ways of doing this, many types of photographs, and I did one here. This is a lioness with the sleeves, and again it's so beautiful, and then with my signature at the back. Now there's another one here. This is a photograph of a bird. There, if you can see, it's a small bird. I didn't want to put it on a white background because then it will not be something special. So I had to design something that complements the bird. So the colors of the bird are also in the other designs of the t-shirt. And then of course I've got my signature at the back. Now it's not just this. You can also make scarves and shawls like this one. This is geometric design. I put it together and then turn it into a shawl. Now this other one is quite special. I actually wanted to do something traditional, so I selected patterns from a songket. So this is like the poa that you get in Sarawak, but here you can see the bamboo shoot design. This is very typical of a songket design. And here, this is my favorite black and white. I love black and white. This is actually designed from zebras. I love to take photographs of zebras and put the patterns together and turn it into a shawl. You can wear this with a white top, with jeans, or just tied up in a turban like this. What I'm wearing is a tie and dye that I've done, and I fashioned it into a headscarf like this. So there you are, children. You can have your own fashion line. Try that when you get back to school. Show me what you have, and then let's see how we can put it in print and on fabric and have your own fashion line. I hope you enjoy it. Cempakans, we have put together a series in our webinar. Webinar is actually seminar online, and I'll put a link to that so that you can follow it and enjoyed the conversations that we've had with many Cempaka alumni. The first one we had was with Cheryl Tan. Cheryl Tan is now in Singapore, and she talks about careers in performing arts, the myths and realities, what it takes to be a star on stage and behind the screen. So that's Cheryl Tan. So you can follow her, and then you can listen to questions that people ask, and maybe later on you can even get in touch with her. And then we had Khalilul. Khalilur Rahman actually talked about community insights, where he is out there now helping a lot of people and what it takes, to become a community organizer. And then we've got Shaolin, which is also doing a great thing into edible garden, and she's at home, how to grow your own edible garden at home. It's all organically grown. All her vegetables are organic vegetables, which is very good for you. And today it was really interesting. I joined this conversation actually with Dr. Lau Dia Ying, and from the front line. So he actually told us about what's like, to be out there in the hospital and everything you need to know about COVID-19. You see, we get a lot of videos, we get a lot of people saying all sorts of things, and it could be fake news and so on. But listen to Jia Ying, and you get to know a lot more. It's well-informed information about this COVID-19, and you can get proper insight about what it takes to be doctors now working now for us in a very, very challenging situation. Well, Cempakans, I would like to show and I would like to share with you a video that was done by Mr. Chan and many of our Cempakans, alumni as well as present Cempakans. They've done the recording in their own individual homes and then sent it to Mr. Chan, and Mr. Chan put it together. And they call themselves the virtual voices. So who are these people? But before that, I must tell you about the song that they have selected. It's Heal the World by Michael Jackson. And this is so appropriate now that we have to come together and we talk about the human race and how we should work together to heal the world. So the children doing this, it's really, really amazing. Beautiful voices. We have Gabriel Ng, who's only 7 years old. Kimberly, who's only 6. And then we have Evelyn Low. We have Zara Wong with her other 2 sisters. So the 3 Wong sisters, Zara, Elaine, and Hillary. We have Lauren Ho. And then we have Charmaine Ko. Remember, she was the rabbit in our Alice's Wonderland. We have Erica Yo. We have Savira Sigit. Now, Savira Sigit she has sent in a clip of her singing all the way from Los Angeles. And then we have Tengku Dayang Adira, another alumna, and Chia Yi Jin, also an alumna. Then we have Abner Go, we have Shanice Lee, Summer Kathleen Spence, and we have all your teachers as well, Mr. Wong Shen Wee, Victor Ho, Melinda Sig, Odelia Kamal, and of course, Mr. Chan. So listen to this and enjoy the song, reflect on the lyrics, and then this is also for us to do our part that we need to heal the world together.
There's a place in your heart, and I know that it is love. And this place could be much brighter than tomorrow.
And if you really try, you find there's no need to cry.
In this place, you feel there's no hurt or sorrow.
There are ways to get there if you care enough for the living.
Make a little space, make a better place.
Heal the world, make it a better place for you and for me and the entire human
Well, Cempakans, that wraps up my third assembly with you. Well, today we have paid tribute to the doctors and all the people working in the hospitals. And we've also thought about penning our thoughts, to pen our thoughts into our fears, what we have learned, and what would be our growth section of what we're going through this time and in the coming weeks. And also, I've introduced to you another genre of art, that is wear art. That means art for wear, and make it your own style. And I would like you to actually next week share with me the fears that you have, what you have learned, maybe new recipes, and your growth period, and what you want to do after this. So share with me so that next assembly I can share it with the rest of the community. And of course, I must not forget the beautiful voices, the virtual voices. Yes, they have given us a beautiful rendition of Heal the World. We must come together as a human race, and work together for a better world. We need to heal the world. We need to look at ourselves and how we can do this. And again, Cempakans, do not forget to tune in at all our webinars, and it's going to have a few more in the weeks to come. And so with that, Cempakans, I wish you the very best. Take care, keep safe, and be positive, and smile. Thank you. Bye.